Hi, I'm Junice Marino, and today I will talk about Chinese immigrants. Most people, or even me, I ask myself, why did Chinese immigrants came to United States? I've been told, or I heard a lot of story about it, but today I will tell you guys why did Chinese immigrants came to the United States. Okay. Uh, it was, I call it, the searching for gold. According to the US history, the dream of gold. On year 1840, there were news around the globe about the gold that can be found in California, and the fortune can be for anyone who are able to seize them. Chinese immigrants are one of the people who wanted to find them. When the Gamsaan went the Gamsaan in English, it's a gold mountain, as they called it California. On 1851, there were 25,000 Chinese immigrants moved in that mountain, left their home, and brought their family. And sorry, I apologize. I'm not really good in technology. Where did the group settle? Chinese immigrants panned for gold, worked in mines, provided critical labor construction on the Transcontinental Railroad through this area, transformed maquis swamplands into fertile farmland, and developed fishing villages. They even claimed their place in California, despite incessant efforts to exclude them. I got pictures here. The These are the Chinese immigrants working and digging for gold, and doing, some of them are doing farmland, and this is the uh, as you can see, the railroads and everything there. So how the immigrants received the current citizens of the nation. The immigrants, the Chinese, there were the first act came out, they call it Chinese Exclusion Act. It's the first restriction on free immigration in US history. It excluded Chinese laborers from deportation and penalty of imprisonment. It made Chinese immigrant permanent aliens by excluding them from US citizenship. In 1910 and 1940, some Chinese immigrants passed through Angel Island Immigration Station near San Francisco. Any child born in America would automatically become a US citizen. Many parents brought property under the US citizen children. At 1940, 1943, the Exclusion Act swept away. Chinese immigrants finally made eligible for citizenship. After 2 years, the new act, they call it War Bride Act and GI Fiancé. This act means permitted Chinese Americans bring their wives into the country. I will explain what is the Exclusion Act. Even though the Chinese laborer received the Exclusion Act, there were restrictions that came with it. It forced to live a life apart, and they have to build their society in which they could survive on their own. They are not allowed to live with the American. They have to live apart from them. This is when they started building their own community, the Chinatown. So now I know why there are so many Chinatown all over the United States. I was wondering before why Chinese immigrants need to have their own place. Why can't they just stay, why they have to have, are they special? But now I understand why they have to have their own place and they call it Chinatown. Later on, I will talk about what is a Chinatown, but right now I will explain the Naturalization Act. After the Exclusion Act, here comes the Naturalization Act. The Naturalization Act, Immigration and Naturalization Act, this came year 1965. It's allow more skilled workers and family members to enter the country easier than before. It's eliminated the old quota system that gave preferences to Europeans. It helps the growth of Chinese immigrants in the United States. The new immigrants that come from same rural provinces of China. The new immigrants that come from urban Hong Kong and Taiwan. So these new immigrants have more outlook in life, greater expectation of social mobility, urban fashion, speak different dialects, and some of them are professionals. Their family integrated easily throughout the cities of United States. At 1980s, many more people from China, including university students, migrate in the United States and settle permanently. They've been a great impact in the United States culture. So now, I will talk about the changing trade. During decades preceding and during Civil War, United States was largely focused on domestic matters and sectionalism rather than foreign policy. American factors started replicated in 1850s in China and declined. Several consumed the resources of American economy. The United States would not catch up this era until 1880s and 1890s. Despite the great profits that could be made in the China trade, Europe offered more receptive market for American goods and remained primarily focused on American foreign trade. And the trading changed on 19th century. The Europe grew enormously while China remained fairly constant and became even more smaller. In last quarter of 20th century, United States reopened China trade. American businessmen have again approached China as a market with great potential. As of September 2012, China owned 1.155 trillion in US Treasury. This is 21.1% of the total of 5.5 trillion of debt held by the public. Now I will talk about what is Chinatown. I want to talk about this because for me, I think this is important. What is Chinatown and why is Chinatown important for Chinese immigrants? Chinatown serves as a safe haven, second home for Chinese immigrants, a place to shop for familiar home food, to worship traditional temple, or to catch up on the news from old country. By the start of 20th century, Chinatown sprung up in the cities from San Diego to El Paso to Connecticut and form a network that continent. I can talk about more in Chinatown. I can talk about why this is important, but I don't have enough time. I will talk about the impact that immigrant cultural tradition have on the United States. Many of us probably eat Chinese food. Many types of food and items related to Chinese have been introduced to American society and used at the present. Yeah. Everywhere you go, you will see food chain. You will see Chinese grocery store, the Great Wall store in Kent. I don't know if somebody knows that. I'm Chinese, half Filipino, so I go there. Since 1960, Chinese cuisine has been integral part of American diet. Not only Chinese food has been a big impact on American culture, there's also the culture, the language, the religion. Uh, let's talk about the Chinese New Year. Some Americans observe the holiday of Chinese New Year with the Chinese lunar calendar. Chinese immigrants or Chinese people, we are very superstitious. If you've been in Chinese immigrants or Chinese houses, everything needs to be feng shui. Feng shui, even some American famous does, some famous American does the feng shui. The religion, originally Chinese are Buddhism or Taoism. They also worship images of God, ancestors, hero, or more. Languages, Chinese maintained through homes, school. They even teaches it in the university. The media, newsletter, and more. Above all, Chinese respects everybody's belief and religion. I have a pictures here. The Chinese immigrants right now. I don't know if you can see it. This is how Chinese immigrants family look like now. It's a little bit different, but still the same. They stay together. The mom, dad, they usually live together. I'm sure all of you knows Bruce Lee. And this is Anne Wang. Anne Wang is the famous businessman. He's an engineer. And this is, what's his name? His last name is Wang. I forgot his first name. He is the famous award-winning Hollywood director. And once again, my name is Junice Marino, and I just presented you about the Chinese immigrants. Why, when, and where they first settled in the United States of America. And these are my citation. I use some websites. I use